so the next speaker is Sandra.
With
Go.
Thank you. Welcome. Well, my talk is nowhere near as revolutionary as the previous one, but I will tell you how permutations are not a well quasi-ordered set. So first I'll remind you, a quasi-ordering is a binary relation that is reflexive and transitive and is not antisymmetric. If it was antisymmetric, that would be partial ordering. And well quasi-ordered property can be defined in several equivalent ways. For example, if you take any infinite sequence of elements of the set, then it contains an increasing pair in the corresponding order, or the set does not contain an infinite strictly decreasing sequence or an antichain. And another definition is a little bit harder to grasp, but it is the one that is useful in the applications of well quasi-orderings, and it is that every filter of a set has a finite basis. And let's look at some well quasi-ordered set examples. So any finite set with the equivalency relation, the set of natural numbers. One specific example of what Higmann's lemma states is a set of finite strings with the substring relation, and of course the set of undirected graphs with a minor relation, as published by Robertson and Seymour in 20 papers, the first having been published in 1983, I think, and the last one in 2004. So, okay, we saw some examples. Let's go to applications. So yeah, we can use these well quasi-orderings to prove the existence of parameterized algorithms, polynomial and parameterized algorithms. And the most famous example is if we already know this Robertson and Seymour's result, then the proof that you can check the planarity of a graph in a polynomial time is quite concise and nice. Well, if you don't include the 20 paper proof that the graphs are a minor relation. And yeah, and this uses the filter and finite basis definition of what a well quasi-ordering is. So this other application allows for proofs of termination for some very specific algorithms, and I think this is the one why permutations in particular were interesting. But I'm sorry, actually, this is the part that Dr. Viksna knows much more about than me.
I think that there was not only Abdullah but also Chance. I think that Chance was the main person.
Yeah, true. And so for me it was, Sandra, please do this simple exercise, prove that permutations are not well quasi-ordered. It's a folklorized result, everyone knows this. And I couldn't do it. So, okay, then take this paper that already shows that it is not a well quasi, that already has an anti-chain. And I still couldn't quite understand it. And it turned out that they used the one-line notation for permutations, and their understanding of what the relation between permutations are was quite different from mine, because I used cyclic notation for permutations, and yes, and in cyclic notation you can imagine permutations as a directed graph, and the relation was somewhat different, and with this relation the anti-chain didn't quite work. So then we started doing deeper research in, well, what's with this folklorized result? And it turns out that even though it has been referenced even as far back as 68, it's not at all easy to find, and we think that the two latter papers, Tarian's paper and Pratt's paper, where this result is like a side result, it's not even their main thing that they are talking about, that they were not really findable until they were scanned and published somewhere on the internet. They were pretty obscure. And in 2000, Spielman and Bona published a paper with where they stated that permutations are not well quasi-ordered, like it was a new result. Something no one knows. And that's the one that was easiest to find, and the rest were pretty much harder. So, of course, we have formal definitions of both the relation. The curly relation is the one that was used earlier, and the triangle is the way we understood it. And what the formal definitions boil down to is that in the linear notation relation, the order of the elements is preserved and the relative values of the elements is preserved. So when 6 is mapped to 5 and 3 is mapped to 2, 6 is more than 3 and comes before 3, and 5 is less than 2 and comes before 2. And in our relation, the actual order is not so important. What is important is that you can still reach the elements. The path between them must be preserved. So, and values, of course. So when we map 3 to 2 and 7 to 5, you can still get from 2 to 5 when you throw out the 2 and the 6. And then 3 is less than 7, 2 is less than 5. So we'll look at how they had an anti-chain. This is Tarian's anti-chain. So in linear notation, what you write down are the position where the element will, the new position of the current element. So first you would write down 2, then you would write down 11, then you would write down 4. And so when you write it down like this, in order to preserve the values and the order, the first mapping must be 7 to 11, because 7 must be mapped to something that is at least 7 and have 5 elements to the what's left of it that are less than what it is mapped to, and you cannot map it to anything on the other end. So and similar restrictions like this apply to all the other, until you get to a contradictory point where you cannot map anything correctly anymore, and it turns out that these two elements of this sequence of permutations cannot be compared in their understanding, because and in cyclic notation, what you write down is where is the next place you are going to go to. So what you would first write down is, well, we start with 1, then we go to 2, then we go to, next we would write down 11, then we would write down 12, and we draw it like this. And and we can quite easily see that with the way we understand this relation, it can be mapped quite simply. The relative values are, of course, preserved, and the path from the path is also preserved. We can get from the element that we map to the other element that we map to. So they can be compared. So what we just showed realized was that there are permutations which cannot be compared in their understanding, but can be compared in our understanding. So can it be the other way around? Yes, it can. You can get permutations that their understanding of permutations does not preserve the cyclic nature of permutations, but for us that seemed like a useful characteristic to preserve. So yeah, and here you can see that these are correct. This is correctly mapped for the one-line notation, but you cannot map 2 cycles to 1 cycle, or 1 cycle to 2 cycles. So we also have a theorem that you can, if you have an anti-chain in our relation, you can syntactically generate a list of permutations that will be an anti-chain also in the earlier notation. So what's our anti-chain like? It is made up of loops like this, repeated over and over again, and the ends are tied together with longer sides of the permutation. And of course our main result is that elements of this pattern cannot be compared to each other, cannot be properly mapped to one another. And let's look at some specific examples so that there's no emptiness in the middle. Of length 10 is the shortest one you can have in this sequence of permutations. So what we did, we observed some specific properties. For example, if you map some element, like the third element from the beginning to the third element from the beginning, then you must map the first 2 to the first 2 and symmetrically from the other. And if you map to the third from the end and to the third from the end, you must map the last and the first next to last also. Or you cannot map to closer elements to 2 elements further from one another in the shorter permutation. That would make no sense. And another observation is that you must preserve, if in this chain, if you map 2 elements, then the path between them has to also be mapped accordingly. And we used these observations to, we started looking at, let's say, the 4th element. Where can we map it to? And well, because of length restrictions, we cannot map it to the first 3 or the last 5, because then it will be the permutation will be too short. And then we looked at odd elements in the middle and other even elements, and we can't map it to any of those because it has these longer sides, and so it has to be mapped to itself. Now we have one fixed, then we fix the next ones, and again we go from both ends of the permutation and until we get the contradiction somewhere in the middle. I think I'm very
Maybe I have a third question, like maybe overlook something. What motivates you to study this particular orderings and notation?
I like to draw things. No, honestly, it was at first it was simply as an exercise, but then when it turned out that it's not an antichain for our understanding, we hoped that maybe it's not, and then maybe permutations are well quasi-ordered, and that would be useful for what Sharans is doing. But it turned out that no, they are still not well quasi-ordered, so it's actually a negative result for us, but well, it's a result nonetheless, and since we went through so much trouble finding this history, we thought maybe it's worth publishing in more overseeable manner.
Do you know how this happened, that all this history was lost? So were there for 20 years people not interested in this, or why did this happen?
It's a curious thing. Also about the Higman's lemma, it has very few applications, even though it seems like a really interesting result. Higman's lemma is that you can construct well quasi-ordered sets from already existing well quasi-ordered sets. So it has an application in closest string problem or something like that, and we think that it might have others, but we haven't found any of those either, so who knows why not.
I'm curious, so are there any other natural orders for orderings for permutation?
Well, these two are apparently natural, but well, you know, when I think of them as directed graphs, that seems to me the natural ordering, but I don't know.
And what if you combine the two orderings? I mean, what is the requirable conditions? Does it make any sense? I mean, it's still obviously not all quasi-ordered, but
I think, I don't know, I would have to look at them very carefully, but I think not, that they are, well, they are very closely tied to the way they are notated.
Maybe it's interesting to find some properties of orderings that imply the well quasi-ordered
Mm.
to our characters. Okay, so other questions?
No.
No,
Thank you.